here at Kajun Roots Reselling, you give me an offer and I'll take it.
I say, this is Johnny's place, where you can have it for no problem. I got the dollars.
Fixed income, no credit, bad credit. Here at Kajun Roots Reseller, that's no problem.
Let them have it.
I've got my dollars and I sit in my best offer.
We say yes. See the special man. The easiest man on YouTube.
You got the dollars? We got the offer? Let them have it with no problem.
Hello, and welcome on this hump day. How's everybody doing this morning? Hello, good morning, and welcome. And let's see who's first in the chat, and that was Stacy. Hello, good morning, and welcome. And Pam, hello, good morning, and welcome. KK, hello, good morning, and welcome. And there's Tony or Anthony, as all of us might know. If you're new to the channel, you may not know who this person is, but you're about ready to find out because he is on my show today, and he is joining us today with some great questions. Hopefully, if y'all have them, let's bring them on. And Royal Flush Creations, hello, good morning, and welcome. In Gate City Paul, did you change your screen name? Because I think I know who you are. Hello, good morning, and welcome. And Soto, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? And there's Anthony. Jeffrey, hello, good morning, and welcome. And there's Jennifer and Michael. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for another member gifting. And so we have to start the morning off with our chair dance. And here we go. Thank you very much. And this is for you, Mike.
Let me have it, please. I got the dollars. Let them have it. You got the dollars? We got the offer? Let them have it with no problem. Let them have it.
And Lisa's Lucky Finds, you are now a member of the channel thanks to Michael, Angry Otter Comics. So this is for you.
Attention, new member. I want to thank you. Thank you for being a friend and family member of the Kajun Roots Reseller channel. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Michael. And hello, Yarn again. Hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? And our birthday boy's in the house. Mark, happy birthday. I was in Victoria's a little bit. I had her let her know it was your birthday so she can sing you happy birthday. And I hope you have a great day and hope that you don't eat too much cake. Kim, hello, good morning and welcome. And how are you doing? And I Spy a Queen. Anitra, hello, good morning and welcome. And how are you doing? And that is Pittsburgh's channel. Y'all might want to check it out. I've learned a lot from him on things that I am still learning, but I got into this thing with sports cards. Y'all going to have a good show today. I know we will. All right, I got you, Gate City Picker, Mr. Paul. Sabrina, hello, good morning and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see you. He's been Gate City. I'm not sure, though. I watch channels, and sometimes I don't catch it. But thank you for letting me know. And let's see here. Everybody's saying hello to each other. Thank y'all very much for that. All right, let me go over the calendar of events so we can get this show started. Today, birthdays. Jeff Crumpler's birthday is today. He's in our coin community. Mark from 2 Old Guys Vintage and Resale, which is in the chat, his birthday is today. And if you see Misty, the nice tea seller, today is also her birthday. Today we also have coming up on 10 o'clock is Claudia's Vintage, Stacy May W Catitude, and Nora the Stock Explorer all come on at 10 o'clock. Then at 11 o'clock you have Harold Simple Adventures, Leslie's Lucky Finds, Janine's, the Buddha Chick Rita with her daily devotions. Those are all at 11. 11:30 is Jackass Red Show. At 12 o'clock is Maria, California Thrifter. At 1 o'clock is Crazy May's Stash, unboxing the stash. Then at 1 o'clock, you also have Irene and Leo. Don't forget today at 2 o'clock is our Hump Day auction. 2 o'clock is the Buddha Chicks Rita, where she does her live solo sale. And then at 4 o'clock is Creative Creations by Denise. And I believe she's still doing her shows. And I think there was an update, but I'm not sure. I didn't hear any information yet on that. On Denise's channel with Dawn's channel and Josie's Place. At 4 o'clock is Sandy and Otto with Janine's. At 4:30 is Adam Hartman Made, and I think he changed it, but he never told me the details yet. 6 o'clock is Deb's Wood Burning with her midweek deals. Don't forget at 8 o'clock. Oh, sorry, at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock Monday through Friday is Great Scott with his daily show. Awesome, having fun and just chilling with everybody and having fun playing games. At 6 o'clock is KK with her bingo. At 6 o'clock is Sabrina with her Simon Says Let's Make a Deal. And then we have at 6 o'clock is Beverly Pozzazzo Over the Cliff. At 6:30 is Revive It Sisters. If y'all missed them yesterday, they were the sisters. They were on with Carol's Creative Corner. That we get to meet them if you would like to go check that out. Why do I have them on at 6:30 twice? Today is their Christmas sale. Adam Exploit goes on at 7 o'clock. Also at 7 is Roy Horizon Picks with a solo sale. At 7 o'clock is an open panel of resellers on Nightmare Treasures auction. 7:30 tonight on Glamor's Closet, we are having the Classic Crap auction. Myself and 2 Old Guys, Mark and Mike, will be on there as well. So come and check that out. It's a lot of fashion type show. 8 o'clock is Scooter Renee's return, running on a Wednesday auction. 9 o'clock is Vintage Jewels, Gems, and Pearls, Margie. 9 o'clock, now make sure you look out for his video this morning. Sailor Stacker goes on at 9. But you have to comment on his videos in the morning, where he does a video. You make a comment, and you have to be in the chat to win his giveaways at that show at 9 o'clock. And the end of night is none other than Steph Sells Stuff by the Seashore. Now, if you did not hear your name on the calendar and you have a show and your show's on a regular basis, or you just have a show once a week or whatever the case may be, make sure you go to the community tab below. Leave me a comment and let me know there. And if you have a long list, just send me an email and I will add you to the calendar. All right, let's see. Go back up real quick because we have some more. Wildflower, hello, good morning, and welcome. And everybody's telling Mark happy birthday. Everybody's telling Anthony hello. Who's your stacker? Hello, good morning, and welcome. Good to see you. How are you doing, sir? You've been putting out a lot of little short videos lately. I've been watching. Trying to anyway. Trying to get caught up. There's so many. Everybody's telling each other, Flip It. Jimmy Flip It, hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are you doing? Good to see you, sir. Don't forget, he does shows every Monday and Friday. And if you're needing to get into ephemera, check him out. He does a lot of those type of shows with Q&As while he's live. Jessica, hello, good morning, and welcome. And Mark, hello, good morning, and welcome. And I am caught up. And guess what? If y'all come in and y'all thinking about getting into like sports cards or grading or how to list sports cards or any kind of trading cards, well, you've come to the right place, because Anthony and I have been chatting back and forth, and when I asked him to come on because I had an idea, and he just said yes immediately. Now, not only is he here today, he was my very first panel guest when I did my very first show last year in 2020 in March. So without further ado, Michael, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. There's another member gifting right there, and it went to KK. Congratulations. KK, you are now a member. Thank you very much, Michael. Greatly appreciate it. And KK, this is for you.
Attention, new member. I want to thank you. Thank you for being a friend and family member of the Cajun Roots Reseller channel. Thank you.
And congratulations. Now let's bring on none other than Pittsburgh himself, Anthony. Well, hello. Come on.
What is up? Good to see you, man.
There we go. Yeah.
What is it?
Good to see you. How you doing? How you been?
Oh, man, great, man. Yeah, it has been a while. It's a pleasure to be back, though, man. Like, really an honor and a privilege to be here on the morning show with you today, man.
Well, thank you for saying yes. And again, I've been trying to keep up with Tony because he's been very busy. And actually, he was the one that got me started in collecting and buying. Not say collecting to buy and collect for myself, but to collect and turn around and resell it on sports cards, graded or regular. It didn't matter, top loaders or whatever. So before we actually go through the whole spiel, I want you to promote your channel because I just recently found out when you and I were speaking about your new show you do at night. So talk about that and talk about your promote your channel and what you do.
Sure. So currently I'm doing a podcast with Huddle Card Collection. A lot of you guys in the resale community might know him as the Thrifting Goomba. He has another channel that he does for sports cards called Huddle Card Collection. So he and I rotate Wednesday evenings at 10 p.m. Eastern. We just do like hobby talk. We talk about basically being card collectors that also resell cards on eBay. We talk about how we take cards out of dollar boxes and, how we make money off of them, that type of stuff. We also have people on from, various different reselling communities and also like people that deal in like sports cards and stuff like that. So like we'll have people that run like different companies, like the CEOs will come on and we'll like interview them about their products and how their products are like, affecting the sports card hobby, that type of stuff. So that's mainly what the podcast is about. I also put out regular videos like where I show my own degeneracy buying and selling cards and stuff like that too. So if you guys are interested in that type of thing, come over and check out Pittsburgh. Also been like heavily addicted to going to like Universal Studios lately. So there's like a ton of Universal stuff going on my channel lately, which I don't know if it's necessarily good for the algorithm, but I like it, so I don't care.
So, I was to say, whatever might work, if it works, go for it, right?
Yeah.
All right, let me move us around because I want to make myself this way like that. All right, so if anybody has any questions, again, I'm going to start with a few questions to kind of get the ball rolling. But if you have any questions that has to do with sports cards and maybe do's or don'ts or what you should be looking for, definitely go ahead and ask those questions. And I'm sure if Anthony has the answers, he will let us know. But I'm going to start off the question with what got you started into sports cards or in trading cards in general when it comes to the trading cards itself?
So whenever I was a kid, my best friend Marty and I, like my mom would take us to like all these different card shops on weekends. And then we would take the cards into like class, trade them with all of our friends. And like essentially by the end of the week, I would have all of the cards I wanted for my collection for free just by peddling the rest of the cards to like my classmates. So it was something that started like maybe in like, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade, whenever I was young, like the early 90s. And, after a while, like just like anything, like I got out of actually collecting cards and stuff like that, moved more into like more adult type stuff. And it was really during the pandemic when all other like resellable things, because like during that time I was making the bulk of my living off of like getting storage units or going thrifting or going to yard sales and stuff like that, and I was just selling anything I could make profit on. At that time it was everything was shut down. Like Pennsylvania was really bad. Like I had to basically go to Ohio if I wanted to get storage units for like over a year. So like it just became a pain in the butt to basically do anything like resellable outside of like sports cards. Like went crazy during that time, and I'd just been a collector my whole life, so I was sitting on like a huge, like we talk about death piles in the resale community. Like I had like the basically, if you had a death pile full of gold, was what I was sitting on during the pandemic, because I'd basically been collecting like, so when I was a kid, Kobe Bryant cards were worth like $1. They were worth nothing because they were so mass produced in the 90s. But like right during that time, like Kobe Bryant, like unfortunately passed away. But even before that, his cards were like going crazy through the roof. You know, and I had like binders like full of like rookies of Kobe and like Michael Jordan cards, and you know, like all of these cards I collected as a kid that now like were basically making my eBay store like 10x what I was doing usually through like the Goodwill stuff and like the you know, going to different garage sales and stuff like that. It was just like, you know, everything went wild during the pandemic. You know, during that time I started grading cards for basically the first time, because when I was a kid, like grading cards wasn't really like a thing. You know, basically you transacted raw cards then. Then grading like became huge over like the last, you know, 10 plus years. So now like everybody wants like the card to be either PSA graded or Beckett, or, you know, like there's all these different companies. And during the pandemic, it was insane because all the different companies were so backed up with business that they couldn't even turn around cards for like 2+ years. So I saw a real big need like for an actual company that actually dealt transparently with people. So myself and my best friend that I was talking about, like since childhood, we basically started our own company, like grading cards. It was called Transparent Grading Team. And we actually sold that company a little over a year ago. And it's now operating called Arena Club. They're partnered with like Derek Jeter, who used to be a New York Yankee. But now
we have a quick question in the chat for you.
Sure.
KK would like to know, what was your first card, and do you still have that card or the card?
You know what? If I'm being like fully honest, I couldn't even tell you what my first one was. It was probably like something Steeler related. But yeah, I keep like all of my like Steelers or Cleveland Cavaliers. Like I even keep a lot of like Pirates and Penguins. Like anything like really Pittsburgh related, I like to collect. But yeah, I have a really extensive collection of like Cordell Stewart, which is worth like nothing. But like for me growing up, Cordell was my guy. So it was like, you know, I would like probably sell my children before I'd give up my Cordells. not that I have kids, so I mean, I guess I really don't know the feeling, but
yeah,
I do love me some
Cordell
Stewart.
The COVID boom, people have disposable income and nothing to do, so they were collecting because it was a big thing. Yeah. So my next question for you is, when someone decides and they're collecting or they're trying to resell, or say they buy a storage unit and they come across a whole bunch of cards, sports cards, trading cards, whatever the case may be, no matter what card it is, what and how should they determine, what is your recommendations? Because I know you did some grading for a while.
Yeah.
That someone should determine, should they send it in, and would it be worth grading? And what's the difference of the two if you don't get it graded?
So yeah, grading is always like, if your goal is to make the most money possible, grading's always what you want to do. But my suggestion to people is, if you can notice something visibly, like looking at the card, like any kind of flaw, I normally suggest don't grade that card, because if like you have an untrained eye and you can notice like some kind of glaring thing, that's probably something that's going to make the card get a bad grade. So like just by taking a good look at it, if you can notice any kind of flaws, it's probably not a good one to send in. But essentially, if you're looking for stuff to send in or stuff that's like worth grading, I typically say anything that's more rare, like rookie cards of like superstar players. Like, so if you actually know like the sport, or like say like you don't know sports, but you might know Pokemon, or you know, you might know like professional wrestling, which some people don't consider a sport. I do, because I used to do it. But like WWE, you might know those wrestlers. Like they make cards for that now. So like even like say Stranger Things or pop culture, like
Are
whatever
you
you're
talking about a
into,
sports
like
card like this in wrestling?
yeah, something like that.
I couldn't resist.
Yep.
It's right here on my
But
shelf.
But regardless of what you know, like that's typically what I suggest to people if you're looking to sell cards. Focus on the ones you know. So, like me personally, I know basketball really well. I know football really well. I know wrestling really well. So, a lot of like my eBay store is going to be really heavy into like those type of things. But I'm also into like Marvels. So, like you might find some different Marvel cards or something like that. But as far as assigning like what's good to resell, I always suggest sell the ones you like. Oh, nice. Destiny has one too. Awesome. What's
Yeah.
up, Des? Good to see you.
Tommy's in here too, by the way.
Oh, what's up, Tommy? I missed you, brother.
We have a question from, let me go back up, make sure I got all the questions. I starred them to make sure I don't miss them. It was from, I'm going to resell it. If I can find it now. Oh, here it is, right here. All right. A question. Well, come on. It's being glitchy this morning. All right, here we go. All right. Question. How do you feel about black label cards? And have you ever submitted a card and got a black label? What is the black
Black
label
labels are very rare. I believe he's talking about through Beckett, which is like one of the big graders like PSA, Beckett, CGC. Like they're a lot of the bigger ones. Black label basically means it's like the perfect like card. And it sells for a really big premium. I've never received one. Like sending to Beckett, I've never even received a 10, like a 9.5 gem mint was the best grade I've ever gotten from Beckett. But I'm not really a heavy submitter to Beckett just because their turnaround times are normally pretty bad. And then honestly, I don't really like I feel like they're hard on grading. Like it's a lot easier to send a card to PSA and get a 10 than it is to send it to Beckett and get a 9.5 back. So
right.
I personally have never received one sending a grade in myself.
KK has a question. What source do you use to find the value of a card?
I look up the card on eBay. I just basically the cool thing about a card is most of them will have the details you need to find out what it is right on it. So first thing you do is like look at the player's name, and then from there you look at what the year of the card is. So like say it's like Topps 1991, Fernando Venezuela. You basically type that in, and then it should bring up the exact listing. And then from there, it's pretty easy to identify, what the pricing is just off of like what the last couple sold cards are. The pricing for cards is really weird though, because it always goes off of the last eBay sold comp. So for example, I could sell a card for $20 today. Somebody could be like, hey, I'll now that sold for 20. I'll now give you 18. Now that's an $18 card. So it's a very volatile market. So a lot of times, like when sets are newer, it's good to kind of get in and get out of them before like the prices start to drop a little bit. And a lot of it's based on eBay comps, and that's why they drop after a little bit. So my advice is always new sets, get them either graded and then sold fast. That way, you're in and out. A lot of times the best thing to do is hold like the older, more established players, because the way I look at it, I've basically been collecting on and off since I was a kid. And I can think of players like Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, David Robinson, who are like all-time great players that when I was a kid, their rookie cards like had value. And now they're like a dollar card. Like they're literally worth $1 that you'd get in a bargain box anywhere. So like now if you're putting a lot of money into collecting like the LaMelo balls or like whoever like the new hot player is, chances are they're a lot more going to be like the Gary Payton of the future. So like what I've really suggested a lot of people do is if you're really trying to hold a lot of these cards for value long term, go with like the guys like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, like the people that are going to be like solid and worth money like long term. Because if even like guys like Gary Payton don't hold like great value long term. Like I think a lot of these young guys that people are spending lots of money on, like I can think of a Mac Jones 1-of-1 card selling last year for over $100,000, and that same card now is worth maybe 10% of that. So I'm really big on selling the new cards like ASAP, because you're going to get the most value for them like right when they're new and hot.
All right, the next question I'm gonna bring up with backing up here with Tommy has a statement. He says, I wish I knew we have people around here. He wish he knew about the cards because there's a lot of people selling these boxes full. That brings me to my next question. Yeah. When you're in the wild, for example, estate sales, garage sales, and I see a lot of it too like this, where they got these big, long white boxes. Yep. So how would you, if somebody was getting into this and not knowing what to look for, what would be your tips on somebody who goes to these places and see these big, long tubes of white boxes? And what would be maybe some key tells to find out should they purchase it, being they don't really know much about it?
So the first thing I look at whenever I find a white box like that is what's the age of the cards in there. If it's like 70s and older, you're most likely going to be buying it regardless of what cards they are, because a lot of times commons, like there's a lot of set collectors, they'll buy like a common player that like you've never even heard of, but like they want to complete that set. So like even like the crappy cards are worth buying and listing. But if it's like say like 80s and 90s like players that like you might not have ever heard of, those are what most people consider junk wax. And they're not very valuable. Like honestly, like you'd be better off burning them for heat. But again, if it's newer stuff, you want to look at like the players, even if it's like 80s and 90s stuff. If you're seeing that there's like Dan Marino and John Elway, or you know what I mean, like players that are like Hall of Famers, those are still valuable because there's going to be somebody that collects that player that you can kind of pull out, any of those big name people and list them for at least a few bucks here and there. So really the best thing is to, once you've determined the age of it, because a lot of it's going to be, if it's newer stuff, you have a higher probability of finding like better stuff, not just like junk wax or whatnot. But the next thing is really just to identify, like if you see any players that are worthwhile, or if you see any cards that have like a rookie logo on it, or any kind of like shininess to them.
All right, and now you have a special a statement from Craig, by the way.
What's up, Craig? Good to see you, brother.
Let's see. I love it.
It's amazing what happens when that door gets left open.
Soto says, thank you very much for the awesome knowledge. Good to know.
Oh, you're very welcome.
And if anybody has any questions, whether it has to do with grading, what should you look for, any type of sports cards, trading cards, let us know by the questions in the chat, and we'll be glad to get it answered for you. And that's why I asked Anthony to be here today, because I've been following him. He actually got me into the sports cards portion of trading or selling. But right now I've just been buying. I haven't sold anything yet because I haven't listed anything yet. So yeah. Let's see. Junk wax is a specialty. You really have to know what to look for. Very much a diamond in a rough. Okay.
Very much, yeah. So basically he's talking like 80s and 90s cards. Like, for example, if you find a 1986 Michael Jordan Flair card, you're sitting very pretty. But for the most part, you're going to be digging through a lot of turds to find that one diamond. But he's right. Like, you can find some really good stuff in those sets. I actually have a video on my channel that basically, I think it's called like Finding Value in Junk Wax or something like that. And like, I actually break down like the actual like cards you want to look for in junk wax. But unless you're really into cards, looking through junk wax is so tedious because 99% of it is trash.
Wow.
Like even like if you have like, say, a complete set of like 1991 something, it doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you have the best rookie from that year, it's still trash.
Right.
Just because it's so overproduced and some of those classes just weren't very good.
All right, let me go to the next question. I'm making sure I drop Jennifer's links because she never drops her own links. Let's see here. I have it highlighted right here. KK would like to know, what is your thought on sealed boxes of old cards? Open it or keep it sealed? That's an excellent question.
It depends on the set. So some boxes are worth more sealed than, like, say, a PSA 10 of the best card would be if you like were to open it and get lucky enough to have it be a 10. But then you also get lucky enough to make sure that that card's actually in there. I've seen people open up like boxes that had like Michael Jordan rookies in them or LeBron James rookies in them, and like maybe only pull like one worthy of like a 7, which doesn't really recoup. Like if you're looking to recoup money, I should say, it's better to keep some of that stuff sealed. And the cool thing is now, like, even if you have like a single pack, you can actually even grade single packs, which would be like worth a little bit more than, you know, say opening it and then potentially not getting like the player you're looking for. But if it's like newer stuff, most of the time I just open it. Unless it's like a key set. Like I said, if it's something that might have a LeBron James rookie or like a Michael Jordan or a Steph Curry or anything like super iconic, like I don't think it'd be worth the risk of either not getting the card, or if you do, not getting it in a gradable enough condition to like risk like the cost of what the box is actually worth sealed. Because every single time a box opens, what happens is the pop report for sealed wax shrinks. So every time that the box opens, the pop report for the actual card that's valuable grows, because now there's another one of those cards actually in the population of, like, say, a Michael Jordan rookie. But now there's one less sealed box of 86 Flair in the population. So as people open up boxes, the sealed ones become more and more rare. So if you do have like an old key box like that, I always suggest just holding it.
All right. This is a question, so we have to ask all questions that are in the chat. Craig would like to know, can you grade my son's 9th grade math homework?
You know what? I'm really bad at math, but I'll do my best.
I have to ask because it's a question. I make sure we answer all questions. All right. Now, this one is from Kim, Adopted Retrospects. Do you grade video games? And I'm going to add to that question, if you know where or someone can grade, or who actually grades these type of games.
Yeah.
And
what
did you look for to, what is your recommendations for if somebody wants to get graded? What should they look for to get it graded?
Sure. So essentially, yeah, there's a company called Wada Games. They were acquired by PSA recently. So essentially, you could now send your video games into PSA and actually get them graded and authenticated. What they look for in conditioning wise is basically like the box. So you're going to want to make sure, like, you know, say like the packaging isn't torn, it isn't ripped, it isn't like, if it has cellophane, like that isn't coming off, like that type of stuff. So essentially what you want it to look like is as close to what it would have looked like coming from like Toys R Us or wherever that game came from back in the day. Now there are some people that are grading even like modern games, like for the PS5 or, you know, like the Xbox or Switch or stuff like that. You can grade basically any game you want. But what really I've seen a lot of older games gain a ton of value if they come back in high grade, because a lot of people didn't keep them wrapped up, you know, all the way back then. And if you even have anything in a semi decent grade, you know, from any of like the older iconic games, definitely worth sending in to get graded, just because you'll definitely see your money multiply rather than selling it basically what we would consider raw without being slabbed.
So in other words, you should not. So someone that has a game that's not sealed and a brand new sealed, should they still send those in, or would they be wasting their time and money?
I mean, depending on the game, if it's rare enough, like you could just send in a cartridge, but it's not going to come back with as good a grade as it would if it was the box, because that's really what the collector's looking for, is something that's like pristine, like that they would have found like on a shelf at like a Blockbuster or like a Kmart or whatever back in the day. So yeah, you essentially they really want to see box conditioning being really good for the most part. But if it's something like for your own personal collection, you can still send it in. It's just if you're looking for like the resale value, you want to make sure you kind of have a good looking box on it too.
All right, we have Mark from Sarcastic Storage Stacker. I just let my eBay guy take all the cards I get in my storage unit. The 80s and 90 cards are usually bike spoke worthy.
Very true. Very, very true. Yeah. I mean, and if you don't like cards too, it's a pain in the butt to like go through and dig through stuff for like $1. You know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of cards that I list that are like $1, $2, $3, $4, and if I didn't actually enjoy dealing with them, it would like be a huge pain in my butt to sit there and do that for hours.
Yeah. All right, you're welcome, Kim. Good morning, Corner Clubhouse. How are you doing this morning? Good to see you. Welcome. All right, I'm caught up in the chat. I'm going to start with another question, then I'll go ahead and open the chat with the link to come on up and join us on the panel if you want to talk more about this one-on-one with Anthony. With the grading, for those who don't understand grading on whether it's a sports card or coins or trading cards or what's that other one, the Trash Kid, Pale Kids, or I can't remember the full name of it. Any cards, for example, or any coins, or even comics for that matter. When should they determine when to send it in, if they should send it in, and what is the typical cost for sending things in? Is it better bulk wise or one-on-one?
It's always better to send stuff in bulk. If you don't have like bulk stuff to send, a lot of different companies, like for example with cards specifically, they do allow what's known as a group submitter, which is like, if you know somebody that you trust, you can put your stuff together to get like that better rate. I always suggest like making sure you really know and trust that person, because there's been a lot of people really burned using that model in the past. I've even personally been burned using group submitters in the past, but the best rate's always going to be in bulk. So if you can send 20 or more, you're typically going to get the best rate. Some companies will give you break as you hit higher levels of cards too, but yeah, typically the sweet spot's right around 20 to get the better rates.
Tina says, and this is Anthony, by the way, or Tony. Thank you for all the information. The cards are very intimidating. Single cards sell for thousands of dollars, but they look so similar to the cards that with no value. Any tips to spot the diamond? Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing to do is, like, again, if you're looking through a bunch of cards, if you notice something that's different, like a different parallel, it could just be as different as like a minor color change from one card to the next, or sometimes you'll see one card has kind of like a rainbow effect to it. They call that like a silver or refractor. Even that right there can drastically increase the value of the card. So number one, you always want to look for anything that like looks cool and fancy, because typically it's on there for a reason. Like they've added it to add value to the card. Again, you want to look for anything that has like a numbering to it. Like a lot of times they'll number the more rare stuff. Again, autographs, patches, like all of that stuff has value. Like people will buy like a player that sucks autograph patch, for $1, $3, $5, like all the time. I sell these players that I'm like, who the hell would want a card of this guy? But people keep buying them,
Yeah.
So like anything that's unique like that. I always like to pick up different like pop culture type stuff that's going on. Like I've sold like several, like I'm not political or anything like that, but I've sold cards of Joe Biden, Donald Trump, like, because whether you like them or hate them, people buy their crap. You know what I mean? So like stuff like that, they make cards of where you can actually get like presidential signatures and stuff like that. And there's like a really big following for like presidential or historical stuff. Like I had one card, I ended up trading for at a card show, and I ended up selling it for over $300 on eBay. It was a signature of a lady named Vilmina Dean, who was the last living Titanic survivor. You know, so
Oh,
like
wow.
anything like historical like that has like a really big following, and it's normally like a lot shorter print than like going out and buying like a basketball card of like LeBron James where there's like thousands of them. Like stuff like that is like a lot more rare to come by, and it's a lot more niche, but like the people that are actually going after historical stuff, I've noticed will pay more of a premium.
Let's see here. Larry, hello, good morning, and welcome. How are you doing? Good to see you. And Myra,
I wish I had a piece of his hair to grade, Paul. He's talking about my favorite basketball player of all time, Anderson Varejao. I have a like a bobblehead of this guy. I have like a full throw blanket. I have like the entire like. I have basically every card this guy's ever had.
Come on, really? I got to take this up.
Yeah, I don't know. What's up, Larry? Good to see you, brother. Got a little stash in the house. Oh, man. Hey, good morning, Myra. It's good to see you. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity with cards just because a lot of people don't want to actually put the work in my opinion. I think that's the big thing. If you're willing to actually sit down and dig through them, there's a lot of money to be made. For example, I see a lot of videos from American Arbitrage Cards, just stuff he's dug out of card boxes, you know, to resell on eBay just because other people didn't want to actually take the time to dig through and find the gems, you know, like that's one thing I find a lot of times is I'll go to a lot of card shows and I'll even ask the vendors, hey, have people been digging through your boxes today? And if they're like, oh, not really, then I'll sit down, I'll grab a chair. Because a lot of times people just don't want to put in that extra little bit of work. And that's really the difference in like a home run day and just like an average day of finding stuff.
So is it good to go ahead through? And because I know a lot of the LCSs around here have these sections. Some of the ones we even went to in Illinois, where the majority, even though it's a coin store, over half of their store, if not more of their store, like 80% of their store is all sports cards or trading cards. Would that be beneficial to go through those at any given time?
Yeah, I always like to go through those. Essentially, like any kind of boxes like that, you can find stuff on a value. I always try to find stuff that's like, say, underpriced by a couple dollars. Like if, say, even if it's a $1 card, that you're buying $1 card, but it's really a $3 card on eBay. You know, I always try to look for those little bit of differences, but I also try to look for like the conditioning too. If it's a card that I feel like could be a grading candidate, that $1 card automatically, you know, if say it is like a $3 card, automatically you're looking at like a $20+ card if you're grading it. So I always like to make sure that I'm looking for that right up front too, because if you can source stuff specifically to like send to PSA or whatnot, like that's something that my buddy Marty does a lot of times when we go to card shows. He'll his goal will be to put together an entire PSA submission with the cards he buys at that show. So that's a good way to kind of like, I guess, pour like gasoline or kerosene on your investment. So you're buying cards that you're already expecting to raise a little bit in value, but then you grade them and they're going to automatically go, you know, 4 to 10x based on what their grade comes out. You know, like if you get a bad grade, obviously you're not going to gain value, but most of the time, if you know, you really know what you're looking at, you know, it's pretty easy to determine if you're going to get a 9 or a 10.
All right, KK has a question. How large is your collection? Hello,
Too
DC
large. Too large, unfortunately. Although it's been dwindling, I've been listing a lot of my personal stuff, just trying to scale the operation a little bit. Essentially, I've been also trying to niche down to like the more stuff that I feel like is going to hold value long term, like as opposed to like I've always just collected like my team, like Steelers, Cavaliers, you know, and like the players that play for them. The problem is, like, after a while, some of these players, like, for example, Chase Claypool, who I bought so many cards of because he was the Steelers' new hot rookie, we traded him to the Bears and he now sucks. I don't need all of his cards anymore. So I'm selling a lot of stuff that's kind of like that to like move into like stuff that I really cherish. Like I just got recently in the last couple of months, like a Walt Disney Mickey Mouse rookie card from like 1933. It was like from a pack of cigarettes, but it's like the coolest thing. Like it's something that like I cherish, that like I actually wanted for my collection.
Mara says, I need to talk to you about San Francisco baseball, the original Beardo. His link also, by the way, to his YouTube channel is in the description bar below. Cheryl says, have so many cards are just too much to work. Yeah.
It is a lot of work, especially if you're not into it. Like I said, the main reason it works for me and like people like me is because it's like I would be looking through them even if I wasn't selling them, just because I have a sickness. So it just makes it easier.
She says that the historical cards are the only ones that she sold. A lot of them have matching stamps. Mm-hmm. So that must be like a collector set.
Yeah, some of them actually have like a stamp like actually embedded in the card too.
Jeffrey says, has a question. Do you know anything about autograph baseballs? Just asking.
I know. I mean, I know a little bit. Like, I mean, as far as like, there are some like websites. Like, if you find like a ball that's been signed and you don't know the name on it, there are some websites you can go to like identify that. You know, and also the cool thing that I just recently found out is PSA and Beckett, like the two biggest like authenticators. If say you're looking to buy a card or a baseball or like anything that has a signature on it, you can actually take a picture of it now and send it to them to get their opinion before you buy it to see if they think it's real. Just recently, there's like a big thing where a YouTuber was selling autographs of The Rock. And I guess whoever was buying them sent them to PSA to see if they were real, and they came back fake. So just recently, I found out that you can actually send pictures. Like, so if you have baseballs and you're wondering like, hey, is this real or not? You can actually send a picture of it to PSA or to Beckett, and they'll tell you like, hey, this is probably going to pass authentication, or this is probably not going to.
Okay. So. Stacy May W. Catitude has a question, or a statement actually. It's a question. In waxes, is it better to group sell by teams?
A lot of times if you're doing like a break, like with sealed wax, yeah, it is better to sell by team, just because it's the easiest way to divvy it up and people understand like, hey, if there's a stealer, that's who I'm getting. If there's, you know, XYZ, that's who this person's getting. There are other ways to do it though. Like I've seen people break it up by packs too, or, you know, by actual like what they call personals. Like if you're coming and you're like, oh, okay, I want that box of Mosaic, like I'm opening it, you get everything out of the box. Huddle Card actually does that Thursday evenings on his channel. He just has like an immense amount of cards just sitting there sealed that he'll just like let you go through and pick like anything. He has like a whole spreadsheet of like, oh, you want wrestling? I have like 10 boxes of this, or you want baseball? Here's like 50 boxes of that. And then you basically just say, yeah, I want that one or this one. And he'll just like open it and send you the cards. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. The most popular way though is people are selling it by the team. Although right now there's a lot of speculation that like eBay and some other places are going to start really enforcing who can and cannot like sell break spots and stuff like that. A lot of times they're going to want you to be approved through like Fanatics now, and like actually have like an official like stance with them to be able to sell via eBay and other platforms like that, which is something that's like really changed recently. Like that's something like, for example, a guy like Huddle Card who doesn't have a huge following, it's going to be really hard for him to now be able to sell his breaks out, not being able to, because eBay, you open it up to the entire world. You know, now he's basically stuck with like Instagram or his own YouTube channel, and it's like he doesn't have the entire world anymore to be able to buy those spots. So wow. I do think that's something that's going to get a lot more tricky for people to make money on if you're not like connected to Fanatics in some way.
All right, Mark made a comment. He says, it's like anything else. You do best when you are passionate in what you do. That is
Absolutely.
So true.
Absolutely.
Yep. Cheryl says, my collection was wrestling, marble, Dick Tracy, and whole mix of stuff when I was younger.
Nice. That's awesome.
Hello, Kawanda. How are you doing? Good morning. Hello, and welcome. The next question I'm going to have is, I know for a while, the rave of these mosaic boxes, unboxing and breaking boxes and opening boxes and all this stuff, has that hurt the market because there was so many people? For a while you couldn't even find them on the shelves, first of all. That's how popular it was. Is it something that has hurt the platforms on selling those, or has it finally tanked, or is it still going up?
Yeah, so basically what they did to counteract, like, because it basically became a scalper sport. So if you were the guy that could get to the store first and buy the entire shelf, you basically set the pricing. What they've done is they've just upped the price right from like the actual retailer now. So it used to be you'd go buy a box that was like $14 to $20 and you'd sell it for like $30 to $40. Now that's what they're actually charging at the Walmart or Target. So the aftermarket's basically dead on most of these products, unless it's something that's popular, or like, for example, it's a set that has like, you know, a Patrick Mahomes rookie card in it, or, you know what I mean? Like, you can go after like somebody who's like truly like a chase rookie. Most of like the newer stuff it's pretty much dead to find at retail now. Like, I can go to any Walmart or Target near me and buy any sport that I want now, like it basically anytime I want, which, you know, like for the longest time was not possible.
Like I said, you're right about the price going up, because when I did start seeing them in the stores here, they were way more than what they first came out with. And then all of a sudden, everybody stopped doing the unboxing of these mosaic boxes. And it was crazy. It was definitely a big thing. Before I put in the link to the chat for anyone who would like to come on and join us on the panel, I want you, and don't forget everyone, the link to Anthony's YouTube channel is in the description bar below. He does a weekly show on your podcast?
Yep. Okay. Every Wednesday night.
Go ahead and promote that. I'm going to get the link and drop it in the chat. And then I'm going to drop the link for the show to come on.
Cool. So every Wednesday night, this Wednesday, it'll be on Huddle Card Collections channel. But yeah, it's called Collecting Profit. Again, it's, you know, we talk about eBay, reselling, mainly from like a collector perspective. Not just cards, but like anything collectible, you know, whether that's toys, video games, pop culture, you know, like even like Jordan shoes, like a little bit of everything. Just because that's kind of like really like, that's what I'm into, you know what I mean? Any form of collectibles. I like going to Comic-Cons, card shows, like all of those type of things. We actually, next week, I believe we're going to actually be streaming, because Michael's going to be at the National, which is like the Super Bowl for card shows. So we'll have some content from the National in our next week's podcast. That should be on my channel, I believe on the 26th. So yeah, make sure you guys come over and subscribe, because we've got a lot of cool stuff coming out.
And if anybody needed to have, if they have questions, can they reach out to you? And if so, where would be the best place for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the easiest way to contact me is always Instagram, just because I'm the most active on that as far as like actually checking messages and stuff like that. And it's just Pittsburgh, like my name here, with a 74 after it, just the number 74. So,
I think that's your handle too, isn't it?
Yeah. Pretty sure it's my handle on YouTube as well.
Yeah. I just got finished pulling it, but I could have did that and I didn't realize that's what it was. All right, I'm dropping the link to the channel for the panel. If you would like to come on, and it is pinned to the top, you're more than welcome to come on. And if you want to join us with any specific questions, or if you want to just come on and promote your channel, you're more than welcome to. Remember, you do have to have your camera on. I do need to make sure to verify that it is you before letting you on. And if you do come on, you are welcome. For those who don't like to put their camera on when they're on lives, as long as I can verify you first, you're welcome to turn the camera off before I put you on the panel. Nails, Jamie, hello, good morning and welcome. And we have, where, right here. Has he has an OnlyFans, but that is something different.
Yes, if you'd like to see my more risque collection.
Hello, Red Road Homestead. Mom Knows Treasures has a question. Do you collect or sell Funko Pops?
I do actually. Yeah, I have a smaller Funko collection. It's not as crazy as my card collection, but I have several LeBron James Funkos, and I actually have a Funko of myself and my girlfriend that we had done at the Hollywood Funko store. It's really cool. It's just like a vending machine you go up to and you can design your own character.
Oh, that is so cool.
So yeah, I have one of myself, which is my favorite Funko.
Marketplace Boutiques. Hello, good morning, and welcome. And how are y'all doing? So if you have any questions about selling trade cards, collecting, getting them graded, Anthony is here to help us with those questions. And I'm thanking you again, Anthony, for taking the time to be on here this morning with me. Again, remember, Anthony was my very first guest when I did my very first evening show live. He was my first guest with, I think it was you. Yeah, it was you. Hip Flipping Mama, Kelly, and Nate. Yeah, well, our first one when I was live, first live show with Larry on Saturday. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. So yeah, if you have any questions or you would like to come on and promote your channel, you're more than welcome to. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. So any tips that you would like to share, whether it be getting things graded or maybe finding something in the wild that they should or should not pick up, go ahead and share that right now.
Yeah. So again, like as far as grading, you just want to be very careful on conditioning. If you, as somebody who's probably not, as trained as a PSA grader, can spot any kind of defect, it's probably not worth sending in to get graded. But again, they do have people that will give you like opinions on it. Like, if you do trust a group submitter, you know what I mean? There are some good ones out there. Like, for example, Nash Cards. They're one of the biggest group submitters. They go to a lot of the shows around the country, and you can actually send a PSA directly through Nash, and they have options where they'll look at your cards for you and say, hey, this is not worth sending because you're going to get like a 6. You know what I mean? So, and if that comes back, it's like you just wasted $20 getting the card slabbed that is worth more unslabbed. So that's a good tip. Like if you have a bunch of cards and you just are super unsure, if you go to somebody like a Nash Cards, that is a reputable group submitter, they'll let you know whether or not to send the cards up front. So that would be number one with grading. If you can't identify them, there are people that can help you identify if they are worth sending. As far as finding stuff in the wild, you just need to be willing to actually look through stuff. Like it's really that simple. Like, because I watch so many people walk through a card show, and the majority of the people that actually stop and look through the box and thoroughly try to see what's in there is very few and far between. So the people that actually spend the time digging are the people that are going to actually make the money. And that's where all the deals are. Like if somebody has it in a box that you have to dig through, they don't care about it, which means you're going to be making bank off of whatever you find in there.
Right. Now with the different, I know there's so many different grading companies. Which ones should we stay away from? Because I know like in the coin community, I hear a lot of if you get things graded, certain companies are worth more than those certain companies that aren't top of the list that you should stay away from. What would be those for this?
So as far as grading goes, like I always say PSA is number one when it comes to reselling. You'll always get the most bang for your buck sending it to PSA. During the pandemic, I would always kind of say more so like I was sending more to SGC because they were actually fast. I'd get my cards back in a week or two. Whereas like PSA, you'd be waiting a year, 2 years to get your stuff back. Now PSA is just as fast, and the resale value is just significantly better with PSA. So personally, I send the most of my stuff into PSA. The only time I don't is like if it's a card that I feel like is going to look better in like an SGC black looking slab, because they have like the tuxedo looking slab. So if I have a card that was going to look really nice in that for my own collection, I might send there. But for the most part, like I said, I'm sending almost everything to PSA at this point. because that's where you're going to make the most money. Because even their slab, if say you have a PSA 10 and an SGC 10 side by side, you're going to get 40% more with PSA, and you're not paying that much more to send it to them. You know, it's very marginal in cost per grade now. So,
and the Deacon Shrews has a question: do you do the Magic the Gathering cards?
I personally don't. Like, I've graded them before, but I more or less, like, when it comes to TCGs, collect a little bit of Pokemon, not a whole lot. I gave most of my cards away to my nephew because he got like crazy about Pokemon. But yeah, Magic has a huge following. There was just a Lord of the Rings set that was out that everybody was going wild for. There was this one ring card that it was a one of one. There was only one in existence that everybody was going after. There was like this huge bounty on it, like, you know, multiple $100,000 card that was just floating around in, you know, box at, you know, Target or Walmart.
Wow.
But yeah, somebody
Jeffrey,
got
I'm not
already
sure why
sent
it's not
PSA.
letting you in. I'm sorry, Jeffrey. I'm not sure why it's not letting you in. Are you on your phone? You have to allow your camera and your mic when you're coming on. If that's what you're trying to do, you have to have both of them on before they let you in. That might be why it's not letting you in. Are Cabbage Pail? That's the one I was thinking of earlier. Are Cabbage Pail Kids cards any good?
Yeah, depending on which ones you get. There are some that are really desirable. They've recently done like new chromium sets too, like more so than just like the old like paper product. So they have been re-releasing it, and there's a lot of like really cool short prints that collectors are after now.
All right, let's see. I see another statement. I'm trying to get a comment where it's right here. Rachel, the Real Beauty says, I have a huge box of 1980s football cards. What should I do?
Run. No, I'm just kidding. What I would do, 1980s, I would look for like Jerry Rice, Joe Montana, you know, Dan Marino, any like really big name players you can think of from that era. Just look for those names. You know, and then if you see anything that says rookie on it, obviously take a look at it, see what that is. But for the most part, you're probably just going to be looking to sell players from that era. Unless you have the right set, like for example, 1986 Topps, which is Jerry Rice's rookie year. That's a desirable set that people like will collect commons into. So like if you just have like a random trash player and it's from 1986 Topps, I always say still list that because there's a ton of set collectors for certain key years.
Jamie said it's a cool room. Actually, that's a green screen.
Thank you. Yeah, it is a green screen. That's why I'm disappearing.
Every now and then you see his hat disappear. It's because it's a green screen. I remember for a while y'all had some really cool because Anthony used to do a morning show and it was different backgrounds. That was always pretty cool. You never know what green screen he was gonna come up with for that day. That was pretty cool. So yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Also, don't forget you can also reach Anthony out on in his YouTube channel. Is all in the description bar below as well. But if you want to reach out to him and have Quite answer you, he's really good at that. Send him a message on Instagram, and that way you can check him out. And all that information is also with his YouTube channel. So if you check that out as well, I'm sure he'll answer you or direct you to where you need to go if it's a particular question he can't answer you. Now, when it comes to grading, though, I know there's like sports cards, all the different types of gathering cards, and you name it, they're out there. Are they all still decent to get graded? And with the grading, is it better to get those graded to resell? That was somebody who wanted to resell it instead of just as a collection.
So with the gaming cards, the only ones that I ever really suggest grading are like the more rare ones. So like if you're opening up a pack and you get like a crazy Charizard, or you know, basically any Charizard's worth grading. But the thing with most gaming cards is a lot of people like to play them. So that actually diminishes like the population of ones that are in really good condition. So the more rare ones I always recommend sending in to get graded, because as people continue to play, because it's mainly used as a game where people like, you know, are constantly shuffling and, you know, doing all kinds of stuff with. So it's common for these things to not be in like 10 condition. So again, if you get a rare one, I always suggest sending it in just for that reason. But I would say TCG and stuff are not as commonly graded as, like, say, sports, like as far as sending in common cards. Like now, if it's a Charizard or something like popular, like super short print or something like that, most of that stuff still gets sent. But for example, like your base Pikachus or stuff like that don't really have a whole lot of value, I find a lot of TCG people don't waste money sending those in. They more or less stick to the more expensive short prints.
All right, I have somebody joining us on the screen, and that's Jeffrey. If y'all haven't caught Jeffrey, he just did his first live. So welcome, Jeffrey. And what do you have for us today?
I might do another live today. Quick question for you. How do you change the camera when I do a live? Because I use my cell phone.
You should have a rotation circle at the bottom of your screen when you're in your camera, that you can hit that little circle and it rotates the camera to the other side of the phone.
Yeah, you might have to go into the settings first.
Yeah, you have to go in your settings under the camera.
And then from there, it'll give you...
Because I might try to...
All right, Jeffrey.
I might try to do one again today at the beach. Look what you want to do.
Right at the bottom of your camera, you see how I have it facing the camera to the phone? Right here at the bottom, there's a little circle. When you click that, it turns the camera around.
All right, I will try that today. No, because I did one with the... I know how to change in the settings where it says settings that change the camera to the other. Like I could see the ocean.
Yeah, that's how you would do that. Hello, Deborah. Welcome.
No, so I might try to do another live stream later this afternoon.
Yeah, remember when you go live, just make sure your mic is on, because it won't let you go on without it.
Yeah, yeah, because I go through StreamYards when I do my live actually now.
Right. There's not many of the Pokemon cards I can part with.
I totally understand
That's all I just wanted to know. I hope you have a great day.
All right, Jeffrey. Thank you. All right. And so, yeah, Soto says,
oh,
we
nice.
are neighbors, same state.
Awesome. What part of Pennsylvania are you in, Soto?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and start dropping again Jennifer's links to her YouTube channel, her Etsy store. And I noticed that Buying Space dropped the eBay store for Anthony in the chat. So if you haven't checked that out,
appreciate that.
Somebody can drop that again, because it was early in the show. If somebody can drop that again for us. Anthony, we have another question for you.
What's up, Dave?
I think I have an answer for this. I'm going to let you answer this one.
Sure.
It's your question. Anthony, do you do Whatnot?
So I have done a few streams on Whatnot. The issue I'm having is I just don't feel like I have a big enough following to like really make a huge impact at least in the card niche. There's so many people that are constantly like streaming that have like a way bigger following. So I feel like most of the time I'm in there like getting less money than I'd be getting on eBay. So most of the time I don't. I just put most of my stuff on eBay nowadays. But every once in a while I will. If I have like the right inventory that I just don't feel like dealing with, like cheaper graded cards, typically do pretty well over there. But yeah, I mean, not as much as I would like to. So yeah, I do spend like about half my time in California. Typically anywhere from like California to San Diego, or Los Angeles to San Diego, typically is where I am whenever I'm out there. But yeah, I'm in Pittsburgh most of the time now.
Now, out of curiosity, do you still do storage units?
You know what? I haven't recently, but if I find the right one, I will. I still watch them because since I moved back to Pittsburgh, most of like my stuff is still in storage. So I actually have a storage unit at one of the best places here to actually buy storage. So that like gives me a built-in excuse, like, oh, you know what, I can buy this stuff and like not have to worry about moving it all because I have the storage unit already.
You're already
So
there, so yeah.
So I do keep an eye on it, but really what I'm looking for is like more niche down, like collectibles type stuff. You know, like, so what I'm really trying to find is like an old card shop that shut down, that's just like a storage unit packed full of cards, or, you know, something to that extent, you know, collectible wise.
I was looking for Mark's name, and there he is, a comedy. Mark does a show every Sunday where he basically does his show, and then he goes in and opens it to the chat where they can put in a zip code, and then he'll turn around and start looking for units that are available, and he'll even talk about, is it worth buying, how much should you, the highest you should bid, and all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
Check him out every Sunday, 12 o'clock.
I definitely will.
No storage unit.
The problem is now you're probably going to be a bad influence and make me buy one.
No, not Mark.
I literally have to talk myself out of buying them at this point.
Well, again, thank each and every one for coming out. It's getting close to 10 o'clock to where we thank again, Anthony, for coming in. And I don't want to take too much more of your time, but I'm always great to have a conversation with you and chit chat with you about your knowledge with cards and grading and things like that. I know if I ever have questions, I always reach out to Anthony, and he's always quick to answer. Got to drive home from the doctor's office. Got to be wondering why I'm still in the parking lot. Well, you be careful, Jennifer, and thank you so much for all that you do. I bought a book of cards from a source that I don't know where to sell them. They look like there are cards from the sports and card place. Where should I sell that? I believe they're baseball cards.
So the easiest thing to do, like if you just have like a binder that you don't know much about and you don't want to deal with, bring it to a card shop and see if the owner wants to purchase it like as a collection. A lot of times they will do that if there's like anything worthwhile in it. And then if it's not, they'll point out to you what exact cards in there might be worth dealing with. Like if you wanted to pull out to sell on individual eBay or whatever like that. But yeah, I mean, you could always too, like if you'd ever want to like send pictures of stuff that you guys find on Instagram, I'd be happy to take a look and be like, yeah, that's good or that's bad, or, you know, XYZ, give you an opinion on it at least.
Photo says, appreciate and thank you for all the knowledge you shared. We profiled the gym locker Sunday and it looks like it has 30K in there. Wow.
Rachel, it's wonderful to see you too.
And don't forget today at 10 o'clock, by the way, if you're in someone's chat and you see Mark from Two Old Guys Vintage and Resell, Jeff Crumpler, which is usually on every day on his channel, or Missy, the Nice Tea Seller, their birthday is today. So if you make sure you tell them happy birthday. And don't forget at 10 o'clock, you have some choices. You have Claudia's Vintage show auction. At 10 o'clock, you also have Stacey May W. Catitudes live with her crafting, and her actual theme for her show is Crafters Retreat. So definitely check that out if you're into crafting. And then don't forget at 10 o'clock, the Stock Explorer, which is Nora, goes live as well. So you got some choices there. And then again, don't forget at 11 o'clock, Harold's Simply Adventure. And that's just the beginning of the day. There's a lot to see on the calendar. I was wondering, okay, great. It's 2 or 3 inches thick. I was wondering to get rid of the whole thing or sell it.
Yeah, I would say card shop is your best bet, or another good thing is social media. I don't know if you're in any sports card groups, but a lot of times if you just take like the pictures I was saying, if you'd send me on Instagram, if you just post that to like one of the sports card groups where people are buying and selling and trading, people might be like, oh yeah, I'll buy that entire collection off you for, you know, whatever you're asking for it. Right. You know, or they might tell you like, hey, that's, you know, might be worth $10 or that might be worth $20. So at least you know what it's worth and what you can get for it.
Right. And also Gate City Picker, that's Paul, says the same thing. You can reach out to him as well.
He's super knowledgeable.
some few things. Yeah. And Jamie says, thank you for answering her question. And again, that's what we're here for. And again, I try to bring, I'm trying to encourage other channels that are doing things in a specific niche to come on. So don't forget, next Tuesday, we will have on here on the morning show with the Q&A all about eBay. Will be none other than Cha-Ching King himself, Scott, will be here next Tuesday. So I'm trying to reach out to other people that are in a specific niche to come on so we can start asking those type of questions, because y'all do know that I'm trying to make this back to the basics of Q&A of all the morning shows. But I will take these and download them and then upload them into a shorter version of a video with Q&As. So we'll take care of that as well. Mark, let's see. You are doing a great job inspiring us. Well, you're welcome. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I knew I happened to catch a new post that Anthony put on Facebook. And I was like, that name does not sound familiar, but the picture does. And so I clicked on it, and sure enough, it was Anthony. So I went on ahead and said, okay, Anthony, here we go. We started talking back and forth of messaging. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, would you like to come on the morning show? And yeah, so he told me his available dates, and I gave it to him, and he said, yes, I would love to. That's one thing
you let me have it.
Right, that's right, with no problem. And I like bringing on people that have different knowledge of things that I'm not familiar with, that I would also want to learn too. And that's why I always try to make announcements to let y'all know so y'all can bring those questions in for those shows. Mark says, nice job, Anthony.
Thank you, sir.
You are doing a great job and very likely. Yes, he is. When I first started, actually, between Anthony, Tommy, and Daz were some of the morning shows I used to watch when I first started watching YouTube when it came to morning shows. Now, there was other channels that I watched that were typically pretty obvious in that time frame when I started 4 years ago. But to be able to learn everything and watch these channels, those were the channels I actually was going in their lives, and I was staying quiet, didn't say nothing in the chat. And then just started chatting, and that's one thing I learned. You want to start chatting, just like even at church. When you start going to the church for the first time, I always sit in the back pew. I want to see what's going on, So that's what I feel about. And then once you get involved with it, you definitely want to. How old the fur babies, Anthony and Anitra? Anitra got a new fur baby? There's the Classic Crab auction tonight at 7:30 on Glamor's Closet. Myself and Mark and then Mike, two old guys, will be there tonight at 7 o'clock on Glamor's channel. Accepting the invitation, Anthony. We will learn some things in the cards. Yes. I know people who own a sports card. Yes. Also, Ryan, Card Shop Reality, owns a card shop in Louisiana. If y'all didn't know that. Anthony, I just started to follow you on Instagram. Awesome. So yeah, if you have any questions.
Thank you very much.
Dirty Mag. Where it went? Well, I don't see it in the chat. That's interesting. Smash it down. Why I don't see that in the chat? Time 9:48. That's interesting. I have a comment right here, but I don't see it in the chat. And I'm watching the chat on this side. 9:48. Where did they get your channel? I don't see it. Well, whoever you are, thank you very much. Dirty Mag Yankers. Hello, good morning, and welcome. I'm not sure why your information is not showing up in the chat, but it's showing up in StreamYard. So yeah, if you don't have any other questions, again, we are going to go ahead and get right in the show. We have multiples that you can choose from. Oh, there you are. We are magnet fishing and have caught over 260 and solved 4 cold cases. Nice. Oh no, I was watching your channel. I believe that's the one I was watching. Is that it? Is that it? Yes. Oh my God, I love this channel, y'all. I've been watching. I just realized who you were. That is an awesome channel, especially with these mystery solving videos. Y'all gotta go watch it if y'all love mystery movies or mystery shows. That's a good one right there. Let me highlight that right there. I just realized who you were. Well, good morning, hello, and welcome. Good to see you. I know I've been leaving comments and trying to watch your show as often as I can and your videos. It's not easy catching them all, I'll tell you. Oh, Lord. Well, thank y'all so much for coming in and watching the morning show and bringing your questions in. I want to thank y'all for also, if you have anyone you know of that would be a great guest on the show and you want to let them know, reach out to me, please do. Especially when it has to do with anything that has to do with eBay, Macari, Etsy. We already have Poshmark every Thursday. We have Etsy every Friday. And then I open it up on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for any, but I try to keep Tuesday for eBay. So with that being said, like I said before each show, don't forget to go down in the description bar below and get Anthony's YouTube channel. He does the live podcasting on his show, and he rotates. So definitely check out Johnny. Off the subject. Yesterday, I went to ship something on eBay, and of course, I had changed all my eligible listings to ground advantage. Well, is purchasing the label priority was actually cheaper. You can change it yourself when you go to do the label. Yes, I have noticed that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I want to say thank you to Craig Landshark Picker. He, yesterday in the morning show, he had sent me some screenshots of some of my items on eBay. I did not realize that was happening. And again, I love it when I don't mind constructive criticism. I want to know if something that can help me improve. Well, yesterday I started going in through all my listings, and I did them in categories. And I have been creating the new shipping policies for those groups, so that way I have flat rate shipping. So I'm changing everything over to flat rate shipping, and hopefully that works. So I want to thank Craig for that. And again, I don't mind anyone sending me constructive criticism, because I want to make sure that I try to, if I need to change something, I'm going to change it. In some cases, when the items are shipping closer to your area, priority will be cheaper. Yes, that is so true. And again, thank you to everyone else selling craft items on eBay. Oh, so Anthony, if you could have, or if somebody in the chat can drop Anthony's eBay store, so that way y'all can check that out as well. That's one other way you can learn on what's listing and what's selling when checking out those type of things, and especially with sports cards or trading cards of any kind. Any this and that. There you go. He dropped it in the chat already. Look at that. All right, so y'all, before we leave, Anthony, is there anything you would like to share with anybody before we end the show? See y'all later. All right, thank y'all. Don't forget Hump Day auction at 2 o'clock.
No, I just appreciate the opportunity to come on, Johnny. It's been a pleasure catching up with you.
Yes, it's always great to meet up with you and keep up with you and chit chat with you. Whether, even though we became friends, and like everybody says, once you have friends, even just that hello here and there is always great. And that's one thing I have to say you and I have been doing, and I love it. I want to say I am so glad to have my coffee while watching your show. So informative. And that's what I'm trying to do every morning, and try to bring other people in. What is your name the same on Whatnot, Anthony?
It should. I'm pretty sure it's Pittsburgh on there, if I had to guess. Most everything is either Pittsburgh or Pittsburgh 74.
Now, do you have any of those linked on your YouTube channel?
Yeah, I have most of. I'm pretty sure not Whatnot though. I'll have like my Instagram and like all my social media and stuff linked to it, my eBay. But yeah, I honestly just don't do Whatnot enough to promote it, to be honest.
All right, everybody. So make sure you do check out his channel. Check out his he does the podcast. And so definitely check that out. And Jennifer's been dropping links in the chat, so y'all check out these channels. Don't forget, when you go to check out someone's channel and you watch a video, or this is just my tip for the day, and like I've been saying every day, if you're in someone's chat and you're blue and they tell you to drop your links, do not drop your link to your YouTube channel. Drop a link to a video. That way you're giving them something to watch, instead of going to your channel by just dropping your link and trying to figure out what video to watch. So always remember to drop a video link to go directly to some video you have on your channel. His fan, you must have OnlyFans right here. $9.99 a month.
Paul's my only customer.
So yeah, if you'd like to come on after the show's over, the link will stay at the top of the chat. So you're more than welcome to do that. Please make sure you do check out. And also don't forget, when you do go to someone's channel, please make sure you leave a comment, hit that like, and also watch at least a good bit of their video, hopefully. And so with that being said, like I said before, in each and every show, love always, love is always free. Please be kind to one another till we meet into another chat. Have a blessed and fabulous day until we meet again. Later. Peace out. Y'all come back now. You hear?